Happy New Year's, everybody. Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm your host, Cody Kelly. I'm with my very special favorite guest and friend, Caroline Jacoby. She is an Alabama fan.
Roll Tide.
And we're just going to talk about some cool things. Purpose of this podcast is just to provide great content. We're not salespeople. We don't get paid to do this. I mean, we get paid not to do this though, right? We're just having fun. We want to provide you something to think about when you're at your desk watching those videos and sending emails. You should be working. This is just something else. Not to distract you, but to inform you. It's going to have a great time. We're going to provide just some insight into branch optimization and just facility environments. Simple, harmless. You don't have to unsubscribe. Please subscribe to this channel. You can follow us on all social media platforms. We'll be providing the link below. We're just going to go from there and just have a great old time.
Sounds great.
All right, so just kind of going into branch optimizations. Do facility matters? That's an obvious yes, but when it comes to design, look, and feel, right, what do you look for? I mean, would you personally support, it doesn't matter what industry, just any business that has a physical location that is dated, not personable, not innovative, does not speak to who you are as a demographic or a persona, would you go there?
No.
Okay.
I mean, no. I used to live in New York, and New York is known for having a lot of kind of these hole-in-the-wall mom and pop shops, right? So they don't always look super flashy, but at the end of the day, I'm checking for the health grade letter in the front, looking to peek in and see if other people are there. I'm not just about to walk in even in those mom and pop shops, and it's going to be the same for the larger corporations. At the end of the day, I want a place that's clean. I want to know that people are friendly and going to take care of me for whatever I'm coming into, whatever store or bank, branch, whatever. So yeah, it absolutely does matter at the end of the day.
So if you're coming out of college, you're this high professional, you're smart, and you're going for a job interview, and they want to offer you something, but you walk in, and it's like a museum. Nobody's engaging. It's traditional. It's got the cubicle feel. You know, it's like you got hyperallergenic material everywhere. You're breaking out in hives. Do you still work there?
No. I mean, there's a great balance between being flashy and innovative and high tech, but then also being sterile and just not approachable.
Gotcha.
So that it's really important when you're considering design that there's a blend of like warmth and friendliness, but also like you're keeping up with the times.
Sure.
You know, I'm gonna have more, even if I've never engaged with your brand at all, I'm gonna just purely based off perception from the way you're presenting yourself, that you're gonna be able to take care of my needs in any format necessary that's convenient for me at the time. If it's doing it on my phone, if it's doing it through a website, if it's going into a physical location, I will have more faith in a brand that has, you know, aesthetically pleasing, you know, design to its brand image, and that's, yes, that's absolutely in its physical locations, but that's, you know, also in what does their website look like, how easy are things to navigate, social media posts, you know, what content do they curate? Is it relevant to my life, and is it in a manner of which that, you know, I can connect to on a personal level? So yeah, it's really important to not just be sterile in your approach, but also be up to date in the times. So it's kind of knowing what that balance is, that's different for different brands, but keeping both of those aspects in mind when you're considering how you ultimately want to present yourself.
That's true. I think that speaks, you know, truth to value. Even when you're dealing with more traditional industries, sometimes when we think of traditional, does that mean like, you know, brown oak desk and low dim lighting? And the reality is that's not the true definition of what a traditional environment feels like. You can still be a very traditional conservative corporate culture and yet have an engagement zone, have engagement features in your place, because the reality is nobody likes to live, shop, or eat at a library.
Absolutely.
And it's not a thing against libraries. I love information to share. I'm not talking about the specifics, it's just the feel. When I have to suppress who I am as a person just to be here, what do you think? I'm not going to support it, right?
Absolutely.
You know, so whether it comes to banks, credit unions, healthcare facilities, gyms, it has to speak to me as a person.
Absolutely.
And I think that kind of goes with personas. Like, who am I? Like, I think even the banking industry, the reality is products only differ by like a percentage point.
Absolutely.
So if you're selling home mortgages, your home mortgage isn't going to be significantly lower than the one across the street. Yeah, a percentage over the course of 30 years is, you know, a few $1,000s, but in the grand scheme of things, if you sign on the dotted line, you're not looking at it anyway, right? So what makes you different? And that just speaks to, can you attract me as a person? You know, do you speak to what I believe in? Are my values represented in your institution? Because you want me as a customer.
Absolutely.
Right?
I mean, we talk more and more about personas is this new way of applying marketing strategies, branding strategies to business for a lot of brands. But it's important to note that personas, it's not about demographics. It's more about kind of the psychographics, the behavioral components of your consumers. And I may wake up on the different side of the bed than what I did the day previous, and I might fall into a different persona category. I might have different needs. I might have a different attitude. So it's important to note that personas is kind of it is a science, but there's also fluidity to it. There needs to be, brands need to be able to design for a very agile behavior and attitude toward their brand.
All right, well, that's pretty much wraps up. We're going to cover just a couple more trends we're going to get out your way. For new facility trends, looking at ITMs, not ATMs.
Yes,
ITMs, interactive teller machines, right?
Yes.
And headquarters and call centers. So the reality is, I don't need a 15,000 square foot branch unless it's a headquarter. I can really use 1,000 square feet, put a couple interactive teller machines, and have a couple people on staff that are engagement specialists but can do everything else, like a universal banker. And then when it comes to a more complex transaction, video conference somebody in, which feeds into a headquarters.
Yes.
Not only are you optimizing your network, you're saving money on real estate, and because it's so small anyway, now you can look at multiple locations, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we talk, digital has affected every industry, everybody's personal lives, business lives, everything. Really what's important to note though is the digital trends, it's about reapplying. So the square footage that we're talking about, that ITMs versus headquarters, you're shrinking in branch locations. You don't need quite as much as a square footage. The branches aren't disappearing.
Right.
The square footage is disappearing that you need for a specific location. But that square footage is being reapplied to operation and headquarters to accommodate for call centers for that digital support of the omni-channel approach. So it's really just about reapplying and knowing how to reapply and where to reapply versus, you know, oh, our physical branch is disappearing. They're not disappearing, they're just they're shrinking, but they're growing in these call centers to support the growth in the digital aspect.
Right.
So it's a reapplication really at the end of the day.
Something that's kind of like struck me is that I'm starting to see, I think, not just bankers, but I think institutions as a whole are fearful.
Yeah.
Fearful not in the sense like there's somebody behind me, right? Not that fear, but like I don't know the next move, therefore it's better not to do anything. And I don't know, for me, I just feel like it's a failed strategy because even though you want to be reactive, if you don't take the steps to strategically position yourself, you will always be playing catch up.
Absolutely.
Now, yes, it will save you if there's a bust, so it's a more conservative approach, but you cannot be a standout leader in a reactionary response.
Absolutely. And you know, you have different industries that, you know, definitely have more red tape limitations than others.
Right.
To include, you know, kind of those risk-taking measures that we're talking of is harder for others, but that's still not an excuse, right?
Gotcha.
So like you still have to find what innovation looks like in your industry, find ways to apply that risk, because at the end of the day, if you don't, somebody else will. And you think, oh, Blockbuster thought it would. Blockbuster thought, I know it's the oldest example in the book, but it's true. They thought they had a chance to buy Netflix.
They did.
And they laughed.
They did.
And now Netflix is laughing, right? So you might think, oh, you know, no, if the industry as a whole, not just my institution, if an industry as a whole is kind of has this mindset, don't think that there's even an industry that is untouchable. I mean, technology and the advancements in that are allowing more and more brands that you wouldn't traditionally expect to branch into other industries. And if those industries that are already own that market don't watch out, like
Right.
don't think your only competitors are the other institutions right down the street from you.
Right. That's word for the day. So you don't want to be the next Blockbuster in your industry. No disrespect to Blockbuster, but that used to be one of my favorite places, and now
I love Netflix.
I love Netflix. There you go, Netflix. So this is all we have for today. Thank you for joining in on Connecting the Dots. We will be back next week. Remember, subscribe below. Thanks.